Welcome back, guys. This time we're going to talk about biological value. So, it's the biological value of your protein sources. You're not just the food you consume, you are what you digest. This is important to understand your digestion, and you can get the most of your protein sources. Let's go. So, what is biological value? Biological value measure protein quality, indicating how much of the consumed protein is absorbed and utilized by the body. We have here the BV scale and reference. A whole egg is used as the reference standard with a biological level or value of 100. Biological value is not a percentage but a relative number. So the maximum biological value is in the theory by 100, but some sources exceed it due to measurement methods. So some protein sources and some combinations of food can even go higher than 100. We have here a list of protein sources. So this is the biological value when you consume these foods isolated. If you combine some of the sources with other foods, it can also increase some of them. You can also take a screenshot of it because you have here a lot of protein sources. So if you ask me all the time, what protein sources should I consume? Take a screenshot of it, and then you have a lot of different protein sources. And then you can see here whey at the top. Whey has or higher biological value than a whole egg. So the digestion of whey is in most cases very well, so it's a high protein or high quality protein source. And you can also optimize it by a combination. For example, here at the top you can see when you combine potatoes with whole eggs, when the mixing ratio is like 65 to 35, you have a biological value by 136. You can also, I don't know who does this, but you can combine whey with potato, also with a similar mixing ratio, and you have also like 134. Also, when you combine like no meat sources with other sources, you can also increase the biological value. You can also take a screenshot of this, and you can also, I love potatoes with eggs, for example, and then you can see here combinations of food which you can easily cook to even optimize your biological value, so it's easy to digest this amount of proteins. We have here also some factors that can affect the biological value, so your protein consumption. A higher intake reduces the biological value actually, but practical recommendations yield similar values. When you consume a higher amount of proteins, you will adapt, or when you consume a lot of proteins over the day, the biological value drops a bit. The calorie intake. More calories increase the biological value, but this does not reflect the protein quality. Your strength training can also increase the biological value due to muscle mass gains. I think this is crazy, like a lot of people don't know this. If you increase your muscle mass, you will also increase your biological value, so you will adapt the food better. Amino acid utilization. Biological value doesn't account for how the body actually uses amino acids. At least the food combinations, as you have seen in the table, when you find some protein sources or some foods, then you can also increase it. Important question, is this important for our strength training? Not really. For serious strength athletes, biological value differences are minor because most protein sources have a similar biological value when you consume it in an adequate amount. For example, when you eat enough proteins that your proteins hit like 3 grams of leucine, then you will adapt the protein very well. High protein diets make small biological value differences insignificant. When does biological values matter? If your protein intake is low, then it becomes more important. But in our case, if we're living a healthy lifestyle, if you're in a disciplined party, then we all consume a high protein diet. But it can also be important for vegetarians and vegans, so smart food combinations can optimize their protein absorption. So here are the key takeaways on biological value. So it measures protein absorption, but it has limitations. A whole egg is the reference standard and it referred with 100. Food combinations can significantly improve the biological value. Also, your strength training and calorie intake can impact it. For all our strength athletes out there, you're welcome. Your overall protein intake is more important than the biological value. But when you're vegan or vegetarian, you can use it for a benefit. Of course, we can discuss this topic here in our community. You can share your thoughts, your experiences, and then we will see us in the next episode. Let's go.